ZZZ Natural, the #1 cannabis company dedicated exclusively to sleep. With over 100 million people struggling with sleep, America definitely has a problem. Z Natural provides the solution. Founder and CEO Blake Ricciardi is here to tell you more. Blake, come on up, join us.
How's it going, guys? Everybody good out there? So first and foremost, this is our space. We're really appreciative of Wrazel throwing this event here tonight. All you guys coming out for it. I actually share this space with my brother. He owns Times 10. He has an incredible creative agency that does work with companies like Adidas, MGM Grand, Simply Safe, and now getting into the cannabis industry with their first client being Sherbinski's. So if you guys need any creative work, I got to give my brother a little plug for letting us use this space. Him and I both share it together. So I'll get into what I'm doing. So let's do this, all right? And as he was saying before, America has a sleep problem. And 2 out of every 3 Americans struggle with sleep at least once a week. 1 out of every 3 Americans struggle with sleep every night. As we were saying before, that's over 100 million people in America alone struggling with sleep consistently. And those 100 million people, they're spending over $65 billion a year on sleep aids. People really want to get their sleep. I can almost guarantee you a lot of you guys in this room struggle from this issue. And I was like that. I was personally struggling with sleep about 3 years ago. And I started to use over-the-counter drugs. And again, I don't know how many of you guys have used them. I used them a little while. They definitely knocked me out, and they definitely made me feel horrible the next day. So from there, I considered prescription sleeping pills. And I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with those or if anybody in here is on prescription sleeping pills, but they're very scary drugs. I Googled prescription sleeping pills and I realized that's not for me. So one of my employees, who happens to be in the room tonight, she recommended that I use cannabis to go to sleep. Now, I hadn't used cannabis in years. Never been to a dispensary before, nothing like that. I hadn't used it since I was back in Boston. And I've been here over 12 years. So I decided to make a trip to a dispensary for the first time. And I'm nervous. It's my first time going to a dispensary. I'm a little uncomfortable, feel a little bit out of place walking in. And and by the way, a lot of new users feel that way. I've talked to a lot of them, done a lot of research on it. A lot of new users feel uncomfortable walking into a dispensary for the first time. So I walk up to the counter and I speak to a bud tender that kind of looks like this. It wasn't this dude, but he kind of looked like this. Nice person, actually. And I walk up and I said, "Do you have anything that'll help me sleep?" And he looks at me and he brings up flower and pre-rolls and indica, all these words that as a new user, I had no idea what they meant. So like I said, I was uncomfortable walking in, and that made me even more uncomfortable. So from there, I ended up going to dispensary after dispensary asking that question. Do you have anything that'll help me sleep? And I kept getting so many different answers, which as a new user, that doesn't make you feel too good when they're offering you all different sorts of things. So I ended up asking those bud tenders, does anybody in here ask you this question? Do you have anything that'll help me sleep? And they said, oh yeah, it's probably the most asked question in here. I'd get that time and time again. And the numbers really back that up. According to Ease, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with, 57% of cannabis users have used sleeping pills or consistently use sleeping pills today. Over 95% of them either have got rid of sleeping pills altogether or greatly reduced their sleeping pill consumption because of cannabis. And so what that leads to is that the #1 category outside of recreation for cannabis is sleep. And so from here, I want you guys to hold on to that for a second and give you some examples, okay? Imagine if you had a cold. You'd most likely go to a Walgreens or a CVS or a Target, and you'd go to a cold aisle and you'd buy a product like Zicam. Because Zicam is a cold company. You trust that. They have tons of different products that are built for you, and you feel that they can help you with your cold issue. Or imagine if you were struggling with motion sickness, right? You'd most likely buy Dramamine, because Dramamine is a motion sickness company. You see, focused brands build trust. And you guys all know this, you're consumers. Inside and outside a dispensary is very different. And outside dispensary, especially nowadays, you see tons and tons of focus brands. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a background on me. Okay, I've been building brands, working with brands, really big brands, selling products for over 20 years. Been doing it a long time. Okay, and for the past 7 years, I've had a very successful clothing brand that's been sold worldwide called Popular Demand. Okay, my brand Popular Demand has been sold in almost every mall in the country, been worn by so many different celebrities, been sold, like I said, in almost every mall you can find, right? One of the first projects Cardi B ever did was with our brand. Incredible activation, didn't pay Cardi anything. It was all based off strength and relationships that we've built in this city. Also did an incredible project with Diddy. Same sort of thing, all based off strength and relationships. My clothing brand, because of the unique activations we did, has been featured in a million places, from Forbes to Complex, MTV, been on tons of music videos and in TV shows. It's what I do, it's what we do, what my team does. We know how to build brands. So going back to the beginning of this, right? At the very beginning, I was bringing up the situation in cannabis. Sleep being the #1 category in the space outside recreation, but there's no focus on it whatsoever. Everybody's painting with a really wide brush as they're putting out these products. And that's what inspired me to create ZZZ Natural, the first cannabis company exclusively dedicated to sleep. And we set out to create Z about 20 months ago. And like I've brought up a bunch of times, we know how to market and brand. And I could have just tried to just take some, regular pre-made something, slap a logo on it and sell it. But that's not the way to build a brand that's going to last for a long time. We want to create a legacy brand. We want to create the leader in sleep and cannabis. So this is our formula right here, right? Our primary formula combines an all-natural blend of THC, CBN, and CBD, and of course CBN. Also a ton of different sleep-inducing terpenes, ranging from myrcene to linalool to humulene. And if I mispronounced any of those, sorry about that. It's really difficult. So anyways, that's our formula. That's part of our formula. The reason I call it our primary formula is because we'll also be doing CBD-based products that will have everything in there except for the THC, as well as potentially some other stuff. So that's our formula, right? I can get more and more into that, but more importantly, then it's about creating the right products. And when it comes to creating the right products, we really want to bridge this experience that you have with the CVS's and the Walgreens of the world. And when you walk into a dispensary, we want you to feel comfortable with what you're being offered from ZZZ Natural. Right here, the products we'll be launching with are our Z drops, our Z gel caps, and our Z gummies. Again, these products are developed and designed to look like they can fit in a dispensary, but also look like they could fit into that CVS. But beyond that, we've already started working on other form factors, ranging from Z tabs, which are dissolvable tablets, Z spray, which is really easy. You put it next to your bed, spray it in your mouth a few times, and you're going to be out for the night. Z strips are a lot like those Listerine strips, but obviously with our formula in it. And Z shots I'm really excited about because they can go at the front of the counter at a dispensary and be a single night use. So for us, building the right products is super key. But at the end of the day, like I said, we know how to market and brand. So that's a real big focus with this, how we market and brand this product. And what is super key is that we need to make sure that at every touch point, these new users, these users coming back to cannabis, experience Z Natural. When they're experiencing Z, we need to make them feel like we've been around 5 years. We have to make sure that our packaging is phenomenal, that everything feels premium, that every time you touch collateral material or what you read about us, everything needs to be on point, because we're not just competing with brands that are in dispensaries, we're also competing with those brands at the drugstores. So we've been really focused on that. We've built out an incredible website. It'll have an 800 number, it'll have testimonials, and it'll have a ton of information so that new users can go to our site and learn. They can learn about cannabis and the connection between cannabis and sleep. People have been using cannabis and sleep for hundreds of years, and we touch on that on our site. Beyond that, we're going to be launching with over 20,000 followers on Instagram. I've been building up an Instagram account for Z Natural for over 12 months. Most brands in cannabis don't have anywhere near this many followers, and we've been working on this forever. So I'm really proud. We'll actually probably launch with close to 25 by the time we come out in the first quarter of this year. Okay, and then the last thing that I think is really important to understand, when you're marketing a brand, it's about PR. So when it comes to PR, we started with a Forbes article for Z. When I announced the brand, writer at Forbes found out about it and they said, I need to feature Z Natural. I need to be the first person out there writing about it. So we're one of the few companies you can find out there that can launch on Forbes, okay, and be announced on Forbes. So past that, obviously, I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering, how do we make money? It's pretty straightforward, right? So the first thing to understand about it is first the size of these two industries. Now, both you guys are probably familiar with cannabis, but I'm going to touch on that in a second. But in the meantime, the size of the sleep industry, right? I started off with that. The size of the sleep industry today is over $65 billion. That's what I started this conversation, this presentation with. Within 5 years, that number is going to be over $100 billion. Okay, so like I've been saying, we are both a sleep company and we're a cannabis company. So we fit right into this emerging market. And now when you go into the cannabis industry this year, $14 billion. Within 5 years, that's going to be over $60 billion. People are struggling with sleep and they're open to using cannabis for it. That's where we converge with this company. And then it's really about how we make money. And I'm going to show you the 3 different ways of how we make money. Number 1, THC wholesale. Number 2, CBD online and wholesale. Number 3, licensing. Let's get into the first one, Mike, THC wholesale. So THC wholesale is really interesting. So I'm sure almost everybody in this room knows, but the largest cannabis market in the world is California, the state of California. It's larger than any other state, larger than any other country. Los Angeles County is actually larger than any other state, larger than any other country. So we're going to be starting right here, okay? We did Hall of Flowers recently, and when we did Hall of Flowers, this was our booth, okay? And we had somebody sleeping the entire time, literally during the trade show. If you want to think of things that can draw attention, it's somebody like that sleeping at a trade show. We had 3 wonderful women be a part of that, okay? But then go on to the next slide, Mike. Right behind that, we're talking to dispensary owners, okay? We had no product there, 0. We had nothing you could touch, try, or taste. We just had our marketing materials and we left there with 75 accounts ready to carry the brand. Okay, we're gonna launch in California with some incredible accounts. Accounts like Herbarium, most likely Atrium, Connected, delivery services like MJ, and even the new Sherbinsky score that's opening, obviously with our relationship there, we'll be selling there as well. Okay, so from a THC wholesale standpoint, California is what we're all about. Okay, and we already have a head start on that. On the next one, Mike, there I am, amazing. We'll start with CBD online. First thing when it comes to CBD online, like I said, I've been doing this stuff for 20 years. I've been selling product online for over 12. Okay, so we know how to generate revenue online. We know how to attract customers, and we know how to retain those customers. So that's easy for us. But when it comes to wholesale CBD, obviously, you guys are very familiar with this. Hemp-derived CBD is selling everywhere right now, whether it's Whole Foods or it's some vape shop down the street. We're in negotiations with Kushco and OTG to do, distro on the East Coast and West Coast. So we're already talking to these guys about doing distro and sales for our CBD-based products. We see this as an incredible opportunity because, again, it's the sleep market. It's not the cannabis market. We want to sell this product in places like Whole Foods. Okay, and then the last thing, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with, is licensing in this industry. Okay, when it comes to licensing, what we're really trying to do here is build brand IP for Z. We want to be looked at as the leader in sleep and cannabis. We want to dominate this space. And the best way for us to do that outside of marketing is to have product in other states. And the way we're going to do that is with licensing deals. So we're already having conversations with groups in Massachusetts, Nevada, Oregon, and Colorado to license the brand. But in addition to that, international licensing, there's incredible opportunities. Okay, so we're already having conversations with Weedbox. They've already sent us a contract, but I'm not sure if I'm going to move forward with them because there's a group called High Noon. There's a group called C3 out of Canada that all have interest in licensing our products. Okay, in Europe right now, the THC market is not formed yet. It's a bit of a mess over there, but the CBD market is thriving. So from a CBD standpoint, Materia is an incredible company that's licensing brands now and bringing it to Europe. I was just with the president the other day, and he wants to bring us to Europe with our CBD-based products. So the bottom line is, Yes, we are a pre-revenue company, which is obviously in a room like this, not what most people like to hear. But we are not an idea. We're a group that's been working about 18 months on this that has made a ton of inroads, both from a networking standpoint in cannabis and also at the same time, just building relationships with the right people. I don't care if it's a bud tender or a dispensary owner, it's what we're doing. But most important thing to take away from this is the fact that for our company, right, we're as much a sleep company as we are a cannabis company. I actually genuinely think in some ways we're more of a sleep company. But at the same time, you guys are in here for a reason, because you know that the brands of the future in cannabis are really being built today. The landscape is going to really change over the next 5 years. People don't know how to market in this space. We do. And we're going to market in the largest category in the space. So that's us. I'm not going to take questions because I'm long, but I'm going to walk around and take questions. But I'm going to put my phone number up here. Take a picture, text me, email me, ask me anything, but I'm here. I'm going to walk around. But again, thank you guys so much for being a part of this and coming. And yeah, thank you guys at Wrazel too.